Have you ever felt mentally full halfway through the day? Well, it turns out it's probably not because you're hitting your intellectual limit. It's because your brain's RAM is clogged with data it was never, ever meant to store. We're going to show you the 3-step system for mental bandwidth expansion to clear all that clutter and unlock a speed of thinking you didn't even know you had.
You know, this quote really gets to the heart of a feeling we've all had. That mental drag, that brain buffering you feel around 2 p.m. It isn't a personal failure, it's a system bottleneck. Think about it. Your brain is this incredible high-performance machine, right? But we're clogging it up, forcing it to act like a cheap notepad for things it was never designed to hold on to.
And that's exactly what we're going to fix. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through a 3-phase protocol for what we call mental bandwidth expansion. It's a framework to clear out that cognitive clutter and unleash your brain's true processing power. This isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter by basically redesigning your own mental operating system.
So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to diagnose the problem, the mental bottleneck. Then we'll get into the science of cognitive load. After that, we install our 3-phase protocol, clearing your RAM, compressing data, and protecting your focus. And finally, we get to the big payoff, unlocking that amazing flow state. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with Act 1, the diagnosis. To even begin to solve this problem, we have to understand the fundamental architecture of our own minds. And that starts with a really powerful metaphor. Your brain is a computer. The thing is, most of us are using it completely wrong. So here's the central idea, and it's a bit of a paradox. To think more, you have to remember less. We treat our minds like these messy filing cabinets, trying to store every single to-do, every idea, every little worry. But your brain is not a hard drive. It's actually terrible at long-term passive storage. Where it truly shines, where it's absolutely world-class, is as a processor, a high-speed engine for connecting ideas and solving problems in real time. The moment you start using it for storage, you're literally stealing power from its main job, process.
And at the heart of this processor, you've got your working memory. This is your brain's RAM, the active desktop where you juggle information. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. This RAM is tiny. Research suggests we can only hold about 4 or 5 chunks of information at a time. I mean, try it right now. Hold these things in your head. Your next meeting, the fact you need to buy milk, a project idea, and what you're having for dinner. You feel that tension? Each one is occupying a precious slot. When those slots are full, your entire system just grinds to a halt. That is the bottleneck. So if our working memory is the bottleneck, what's causing the traffic jam? Well, to understand that, we need to look at the science of system pressure. And that brings us to the anatomy of cognitive load. Turns out there's a scientific blueprint for why we feel so mentally overwhelmed. It's called cognitive load theory. Basically, it says that all mental activity puts a load on our very limited working memory. When that load gets too heavy, thinking doesn't just get harder, it actually breaks down. Learning stops, you make more mistakes, and you get that classic brain fog. It's not you being lazy, it's a full-on system overload. Now, cognitive load theory breaks all that mental effort down into 3 buckets. First, you have intrinsic load. That's just how hard the task is, like learning a new language. You can't avoid it. The second one, and this is our main target, is extraneous load. This is the bad kind of load. The mental noise from your phone buzzing, a messy desk, all the things you're trying not to forget. It's just waste. And finally, there's germane load. This is the good stuff. This is the deep thinking that actually builds understanding, those aha moments. So our goal is simple. We want to completely annihilate extraneous load to free up all our bandwidth for that good germane load. So what's the biggest source of that harmful, wasteful load? It actually has a name, the Zeigarnik Effect. This is a psychological principle that says unfinished tasks and uncaptured ideas create this nagging mental tension. Your brain keeps them active, poking at you, reminding you they exist. These open loops are basically the mental equivalent of running a dozen heavy-duty apps in the background of your computer. They just silently drain your RAM, slow you down, and burn out your mental battery.
All right, so we've diagnosed the problem. Our tiny working memory is getting clogged with all this junk from open loops. Now for the fun part, the solution. The bandwidth expansion protocol is a 3-phase engineering fix to solve this problem, step by step. Phase 1 is the most critical and, honestly, the most immediate fix, the RAM clear. This is all about performing a cognitive offload to instantly free up your mental space. The protocol here is absolute and non-negotiable. Stop using your brain for storage, period. Every single task, idea, and reminder must be externalized into a trusted external brain. This could be a notebook, an app, whatever. as long as it's not inside your head. This isn't just about being organized. For modern life, it's a biological necessity for high performance.
So why does writing something down feel so darn good? Because it creates what's called psychological closure. The system is binary. An idea is either in your head or it's in your trusted system. There is no in between. Once your brain trusts that external system, it gets a signal that the item is tracked and it can finally let go. The open loop closes, the Zeigarnik Effect vanishes, and poof, that slot in your working memory is instantly freed up for actual thinking. So with Phase 1, we've cleared out all the junk data. Our RAM is now free. Phase 2 is about upgrading how we handle the important stuff that's left. This is where we move from just clearing to compressing, through a process called Schema Integration. So what on earth is a schema? Well, it's basically a mental model. It's a structure in your long-term memory that bundles tons of complex information into one single, easy-to-grab chunk. You can think of it like a zip file for knowledge. Building these schemas is the very definition of becoming an expert. It's your brain's own built-in compression algorithm. Let's see this in action. Take a novice programmer. For them, writing a single line of code is what we'll call bitten thinking. Their brain has to load each individual piece into a separate slot in their working memory. One slot for the syntax, another for the variable name, another to check the logic, and so on. Look at the result. 5 precious RAM slots are totally maxed out on one tiny task. The system is just overloaded. But now, look at the expert. Through practice, by investing in that good Germane Load, they've built the schema. For them, write a line of code isn't 5 separate things. It's one single chunk. The whole complex operation loads into a single working memory slot. You see what that means? They have 4 extra slots free to think about the bigger picture, the architecture, the strategy, the truly creative solution. This is how experts handle incredible complexity without burning out. It's a game changer. Okay, we've cleared our RAM and we've compressed our data. Our cognitive engine is now primed for high-speed performance. So the final phase, Phase 3, is all about defense. It's about protecting the precious bandwidth we've just unlocked. We call this the single-channel lock. You know, protection is just as important as expansion. Your brain's central executive, that's the part that directs your attention, is a single-channel processor. It cannot truly multitask. It's a myth. Every single time you switch, even for a split second to check a notification, you shatter your focus and send that bad extraneous load through the roof. The solution is to build an environmental firewall. This means a strict digital quarantine, turn off those notifications, and a single tasking mandate. Focus on one thing at a time. So, we've installed the full 3-phase protocol. What's the result? What's the ultimate payoff for all this system optimization? Well, this brings us to Act 3, unlocking the flow state. Just look at this chart. In the before state, a huge chunk of your finite daily mental energy is spent on low-value maintenance work, just remembering things and fighting off distractions. But in the after state, the whole system flips. By offloading, compressing, and protecting, you redirect that massive surplus of energy away from remembering and towards high-value work like creating, solving problems, and innovating.
And this is where the magic really happens. This whole protocol is designed to achieve a state of what's called cognitive ease. When your brain is no longer fighting all that background noise or juggling a dozen open loops, it can finally dedicate its full power to the task at hand. And that is the gateway to the flow state, that incredible zone of peak performance where you feel your best and you perform your best, where work feels effortless, and where your greatest ideas seem to just appear.
Let's bring it all home. The core idea here is really simple. Your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. By putting this 3-part protocol into practice, the RAM clear, the data compression, and the throughput protection, you are no longer at the mercy of your mental limitations. You are actively architecting the conditions for brilliance. Because at the end of the day, true productivity isn't about hustle or doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless.